Wife had been flirting with her coworker. She said she would stop, but it just happened again. Is there any future in this relationship? About 3 years have passed since my wife and I were united in marriage. She had been having a long conversation with a coworker in which they talked having multiple times and how they couldn't wait for the next one, when I found it last Christmas. The guy informed them that he intended to book a hotel near their place of work soon after Christmas. As soon as he indicated that he was looking forward to seeing my wife, she would answer with statements such as, "I'm looking forward to much more than simply seeing you," and so on and so forth. You see where I'm going with this. Excessively flirty and in her behavior. When I confronted my wife, she flatly denied having had the conversation. It was only after she had erased her phone that she showed me her phone to confirm that it did not exist. However, I had snapped a few of shots. Later, she stated that everything was virtual and that they had never physically interacted with one another. She used the example of messaging her colleague, who was standing in front of me, and asking whether he had booked the hotel, to which he responded that he had not yet done so. She then inquired as to whether he was certain that they would meet, to which he said that they were not. She made a pact with me that they would never communicate again, and I accepted because I loved her and wanted to trust her, but I wasn't quite certain she was telling the truth. I must admit that I checked her phones much too often for a few weeks, causing her to reset her password, which I was okay with since I was probably being too concerned. I picked up her phone this week because I needed access to a code that had been supplied to her phone number. I didn't even have to unlock the screen to get to it. I was able to access it without having to unlock the screen. Surprisingly, there were other communications from the same guy who had sent the message with the code, which was a surprise. An audio file, a shirtless image of himself in front of the mirror, and a sweaty picture with a few thumb emojis comprised the other three. I questioned her about it since she had previously said that they would not speak again, and she responded by saying that he merely wanted to show her that he was going to the gym to show that he was improving. However, the bulk of the time they converse, they are discussing work, and this is merely a coincidence. I pleaded with her to show me the rest of their messages, but she refused, claiming that she had accidentally deleted their conversation history. According to my wife, she will change this time, and that I have never really forgiven her, which is why she has continued to speak with the guy. She vows she's going to stop this time, but I'm not certain she'll be able to keep it up. But even if she does stop, I'm concerned that she'll do it again if things between us aren't going so well. I admire her, but I can't continue to live my life in this manner. Is there any scenario in which this would be feasible? What do you think your response would be? Update. I was unable to function properly after reading every single comment on the Reddit thread. My brain just could not deal with the calamity and eventual collapse of the world I had made for myself, in which my wife is my love, my closest friend and partner, and the person I most admire. She was perfect, and she brought me a lot of joy throughout the years. I was certain that there was no other couple on the planet that could have what we had. We were both ecstatic for an extended amount of time. We were both stunningly beautiful, fundamentally nice, endowed with large hearts, and highly accomplished in our own fields. Following the Reddit post, I moved to an Airbnb and then to my family's home to give matters some thought before making a final decision. Despite the fact that it was a traumatic experience, a psychologist supported me in recovering from my low mental state. Unfortunately, it occurred at the same time that the pandemic hit my city hard. I contracted the virus, which didn't help matters. At this point, we began our conversation, and my wife sincerely apologized, explaining that they had not met. I knew it wasn't real, but I was willing to forgive the woman of my dreams, who had stayed at the highest altar of my universe's hierarchy of power. Fast forward to last Saturday morning, when I returned to our apartment, resolved to forgive her and work things out in the most mature way that could possibly be imagined. Then there she was, but I was the one who was caught aback, to put it mildly, by her appearance. I had my wife and the gentleman at my house while they were both naked. The guy in the writings is the same as the one in the photographs. She said that she didn't even enjoy herself. He was hiding in my bathroom while my wife was putting on her pajamas, and I didn't see him. When I saw him hiding in my toilet, he immediately apologized, saying, "Sorry, friend." Is this the location where I'm going to kill him? I pondered for a short second, but I instantly responded with, "I have nothing against you," knowing that the man was over heels in love with this wonderful lady. Even if he was doing it in a house that was littered with my photographs. Photographs from our wedding as well as our family gatherings. Images of my departed father, who would be saddened to see the dissolution of a marriage he never saw firsthand. He has been the driving force behind my attempts to make the world a better place from the beginning of my career. He passed away little over 2 months before our wedding. Please accept my apologies. I still think the world of her and cherish her to the moon and back. However, I've come to the conclusion that enough is enough. My dream is to be able to construct a world that isn't built on lies and in which I am more than just a blind believer worshipping a fictional god, even if my current one comes to an end. Godspeed. Story 2. The aftermath of confronting husband over cheating with his brother's wife. Despite the fact that I've had my suspicions since September that my husband of 28 years, age 51, was having an affair with his brother's wife, age 62, I've been unable to gather any evidence because when I voiced my concerns, he essentially stated that I was insane and crazy to even think such a thing. Thanks to a Reddit member, I started using screen recording to keep track of their interactions since, despite the fact that they removed the inappropriate ones so rapidly, I still had copies of them. At long last, on the previous Saturday, I broke down and confessed my suspicions to him. He first denied it, but as I started to describe what I had seen, such as her writing to him on Boxing Day, when we were all around, he confirmed it. In the end, he admitted it and used every excuse in the cheater's playbook. He loves me more than she does. He was drunk. She isn't important. He has no clue why it happened. He cried a lot about how I am the most important part of his life that he cannot live without. You get the picture. However, he has refused to leave, despite my repeated pleas, even if it is just for a few nights to give me some time to decompress. In my opinion, our marriage is gone. I have sought legal advice, but I am powerless to legally or physically get him out of the house. We have to live in a very small, one-bedroom handicapped cottage since I have a degenerative illness and can no longer walk. I'm on the verge of having a mental breakdown because every time I look at him, I imagine them having relations. I'm not sleeping, my hands are shaking constantly, and I'm experiencing that terrible feeling you get when you think you've lost your pocketbook, except 10 times as bad as it was before. The man is all over me, trying to hug me, acting like he's the best husband in the world, and taking care of all the things he's neglected since the affair began, and I'm at a loss for what to do. I can't take it anymore. Update. After finding out about the affair, my brother-in-law was heartbroken. However, his wife couldn't care less. She told him that she isn't sure if she wants to be with my husband, and that she wants to wait and see what happens with us. My husband has become a martyr. She came upon him, he never cared about her, he can't live without me, and his life would be lost if I don't stay with him for the rest of his days. Despite my insistence that he go, he has began lighting a gas fire, arguing that if I had made him stay at home, I could have stopped the affair. The fact that my personality has changed as a result of brain surgery 3 years ago, that he would not listen if I tell him it's over, that I must give him a chance, and all the rest of it are ridiculous. As a result of my incapacity, he has a captive audience, and he is emotional, abusing me at all hours of the day and night, holding me despite my warnings not to touch me, hanging about me simply looking at me, sitting in the dark, and doing every odd task that he has ignored for months. The fact that I have been agreeing with him in the hopes that he would just leave me alone is causing me to have a mental breakdown right now.